What's going on, everybody? Doc, Average Gamer guys, back yet again into some more Escape from Tarkov action. And today for you, a little bit of a different video. Calling this the breakdown. I'm not sure. Depending on how well this goes, will really depend on if we do something like this in the future. But I thought this was an interesting idea, and I'll share a little bit of the background of why that is as we get into the video. But basically what this video is going to cover, I'm going to take a look back at some of the fights, some of the encounters, some of the PvP encounters that I had, and basically try to break them down, talk about the mistakes, talk about the things that were missed, and really try to learn from those mistakes. Now, if you've played Escape from Tarkov for any amount of time, you know this game can be extremely frustrating. A lot of things can happen that really don't seem like they should to a certain extent, and I've realized just in this clip, these clips that I have, which is actually literally from like one stream over this past weekend, where it was one of those nights. We've all had them. You've probably had them again if you've played this game for a little while, where you just feel like you can't win. You just can't get a win under your belt. Everything you do feels like the wrong play. And I was just constantly dying. I will tell you this again, this was within about an hour and a half of footage. I got all of these deaths, and there's some that I didn't even include because they were just like right off the rip really bad. But I thought it'd be interesting to go back, take a look at some of the fights, play through them, slow them down a little bit, and just talk about better decisions that could be made. So again, calling it the breakdown, probably going to turn it into a series, especially if we can find some good footage. And I think even getting in some fights where we end up winning, and I think I have a clip of that as we get through this. It'd be interesting to take a look at the decisions that were made, both to learn from, to get better, as well as things to learn from and do consistently if they helped in a firefight. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. A little bit of a different Escape from Tarkov video for me, but again, this is a really difficult game to learn, and I think recording your gameplay and then going back and taking a look at it, it's really helped me from some of the footage that I looked at the other day. And I will tell you, I was very frustrated. I don't get frustrated very often, but yesterday or over the weekend, it was one of those nights where I was very frustrated. I ended up swapping to a different game, just trying to mix it up a little bit, and I thought it'd be good, again, to go back and take a look. So we're going to jump into it really quick. Again, I've got a set of clips basically dialed up to go and take a look at. As always, if you do enjoy it, please on this video, let me know down in the comments below. Let me know if you'd like me to break down some winning fights, if you like this series where I talk about the deaths and kind of review again in those PvP situations. If you like the format, let me know. In addition to that, if you're just a fan or you end up liking the video, hit that like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff really does help the YouTube algorithm. We do have some subscriber goals that we're working towards this year, so really appreciate any support that you can give, and just really do appreciate all the support to the Escape from Tarkov content over the last couple of weeks. It's been absolutely awesome. So all thanks to you guys and gals out there that are watching. In addition to that, links in the description, Twitter, Twitch, Discord. All these highlights were pulled from our Twitch stream over the weekend, so if you ever want to come, stop by, say hi, talk Tarkov, talk other games, play other games on the channel as well. Fridays and Saturdays, Eastern Standard Time, usually in the evenings, is when we're going live. And Twitch and Discord will be the best place to check us out there. We always post when we're going live in the Discord. So without further ado, I'm going to tab over and we're going to take a look. I've got it all keyed up, and I know you're not used to seeing me up at the top here. We're going to see a little bit of double dock here, but we're going to jump in. So this first one, to set this up, a lot of these raids, we had a mix of duos and solo play in here as we were working through the raids. So you're going to hear some sloth in the background as we kind of talk. And basically for a lot of these clips, I'm just going to play them through. And then we'll kind of go backwards, slow motion, and just talk about, again, what I missed. So this first one was a customs run. I honestly think this was the first raid that we did together. So in customs, you're going to hear me talk. I like to push the PvP, especially on this side of the map, pretty quickly. There's a lot of really close spawns we like to try to clear either in front or behind us, and that's exactly what we're doing here. So we get a little bit of action. There is plenty of spawns over on this side. If you're not familiar, you can spawn inside the bus depot. You can also spawn back at Trailer Park in the back there, which is kind of what I'm looking for here. And I know I muted this a little bit, but basically we're talking about we're picking up some audio, a couple of guys running, and we're really just trying to work off audio cues, really understanding that they're probably in bus depot, and it's a very common jump over spot right there. So we're scanning that.
So you moving?
Yeah.
Try to keep up the chatter, the comms.
You running?
Nope.
Yeah. 2-man. Jumping over.
So metal is a really good key. We get our first engagement here.
Threaded 1.
Obviously using a 9mm Vector, 50 round mags.
1 did.
Then we wrap, and we get shot.
I'm dead.
Happened pretty quick. I will tell you, I was pretty upset at this death, especially after getting in that first engagement. So let's back up just a little bit here. I think right about here, we might be able to take
You running?
a little step forward here.
Yeah.
We'll pause. We'll take this back at about 2/3 speed. So again, we're getting the audio cues here.
Jumping over.
So that metal tells me that he's running on the back of that. He jumps over. We miss some shots, but we're going for headshots here, which we ended up picking up for that. So there's one guy dead. So I took a shot to the stomach at this point. I'm going to pull back. I'm going to reload, obviously, because we burned through some pretty good ammo. So the next play here is we definitely heard others. And the voice comms, you're going to hear Sloth start to shoot here right there in just a second. And then this is where we're going to slow this down because this is obviously where we died. So at this point, what I know is there's still people over there. My assumption, which was very much wrong, was that they were kind of into the back of the corner again, going to make a similar jump over move, right? To try to get over the wall because they're basically trapped in this back corner with the exception of either jumping over or coming through this gate right up here. That's really the only exit strategies that they have besides running all the way along the back line and basically going back towards Trailer Park. So I make this wrap move, and right here, if you notice, I was not focused on here at all. Here's the player that ended up killing me. I will tell you in the moment, I never even saw this guy. A little bit of the foliage right there, the grass. You've got this this fence post right here. We'll slow this down really easily. That guy sees me instantly, and at the same time, the other thing that we did not realize until later on was that this was actually a 3-man. Originally thought it was 2 based on sound, and just missed the cues on that. But Sloth had been shooting somebody else because at this point he really probably can't see this guy. So there is probably another guy in the back corner trying to make some shots through the fence, and Sloth is generally positioned over here on the other side of the train. So and then we just, I mean, obviously we just get absolutely destroyed there. And it just is what it is. So I thought this was a relatively good flank. What would I do different right here? A couple of opportunities. One, I can slow peek this. I can wait. I can let Sloth try to get some shots. I can see if they're going to make some moves to either come out here. At this point, I can basically hold this angle, or I can pull back to where I originally had shot this first guy right here. This is a good angle for me, relatively covered with this wall. This is a pretty difficult spot to get over, and there's really nowhere to go with Sloth being over here, covering this angle, me covering this angle. They could obviously wrap around, and I have to be careful of them getting inside this wall, but those are really the two options at this point. But again, probably should have held here, and I think if we do that, again, nothing saying that we would have won the fight, but my aggression here 100% got me killed from somebody that I never saw. I could have even paused right here, and if I'd taken it a little bit slower, probably seen this guy. And actually had a pretty decent shot on him, because he gave me a couple of seconds from the peak to be able to get him. So that's fight number 1. We'll jump into the next clip here.
Yeah, I thought you were hit by BP.
And so a little bit of confirmation. We always like to talk afterwards. This is a solo play. I have to showcase just to really talk about how bad of a Tarkov night this was. So this is a shoreline run. I had a bunch of vectors queued up to be able to go in. And I'm basically, with the Vector, I'm just trying to push shoreline resort as quick as I can. So we make the long sprint across. I understand at this point that there are that there are potentially players that spawn here, potentially players that spawn to my left, but we're gonna make the jump up and just try to get in as quick as we can. Slow down and pick up some stamina. Gotta keep working on that endurance skill. And I think it's right about here. I hear some noise. Now again, the sounds have dampened a little bit. Somebody is 100% up there. I know this. There's not going to be much breakdown for this one because I know this. What do I do instead? I jump up thinking if I'm quick enough, he's behind me because I'm an idiot. And I die. I really just showcased that one again. Not much to learn from that. Besides the point of always trust in your sound cues. If you think you hear something, take the opportunity. What could I have done differently instead? If we go back a couple of frames here, as soon as I heard him here, I have some options. I'll take another step back. I could have, instead of going up and trying to jump up, I could have came around the back. Now, obviously, there's potential player movement through that area. I could have also gone to the left, and I could have tried to come around the front. Neither are really great, like perfect plays, just because of additional opportunities for people to be able to shoot you. However, with that being said, it was much better, a much better decision than jumping up, basically jumping right into this guy's fire. And I heard him. I knew he was up there. I also could have just held here for a minute because he 100% heard me, right? He was ready, he was watching, ready to go, and absolutely destroyed me. So that is what it is. So we're into a labs raid. Again, running some, I had a bunch of vectors queued up. I'm going to push pretty quick here. I have Violet keycard, but I like to swing in and check here. Now, what do I see right here? Legs. All I can do at this point is laugh. But that was probably a perfect spot to sit. So let's pull it back a couple of seconds right before we get into the room. Oops. I'm going to slow this down. So here's the best learning point. I did what I thought was an okay move to pause here. We pause. I assess. I see this guy's legs. I know he's standing here. At this point, I'm not sure if he can see me. He might have been looting the safe that's in the corner. This is my mistake. I do two things wrong here. I aim up. I instantly go center mass, basically stomach. Terrible idea. Absolutely terrible idea. So we'll pull this back a little bit. A couple of seconds. The second thing that I should have done here is I should have lean peeked. It obviously would have been a better position to put myself in, a little bit more cover. I also, if I was smart enough, probably could have crouched right here and seen this guy and absolutely tore him up. I also could have went for the legs. So there's a lot of opportunities here. Again, noise cues are big. I didn't hear this guy, but I think I made a decent play to try to kind of cover and sweep. I believe I also have a flashlight on this vector, so I could have popped that to give myself a little bit of an advantage. I didn't wholeheartedly expect someone to be in here at this point, but with how close the proximity on spawns for labs is, it also makes sense, and really I should have been expecting it. So a combination of bad aim, bad angle peek, and just poor in the moment decision making resulted in my very arguably timely death here. And again, just bad shots. We missed the first two. We get a little bit of movement there with the gun, and it just ends up being what it is. And again, that was I can't describe to you. I know this is so far taken about 15 or so minutes to get through these clips. I got absolutely destroyed. It was about maybe 30 minutes where we got slayed there pretty good. And I'm not happy. I'm not happy. So here's a little bit of a success as well as a little bit of failure. So I went back into labs, albeit probably not the best move. Just trying to make some money, trying to loot up. We got a corner spawn. There's been a lot of action here. What we're going to end up doing is kind of sweeping and coming across. And as I come up, I hear a little bit of movement down this hallway. I believe I heard metal steps. Again, I dampened the sound just a little bit. So just trying to get into a position here. And we just get into a hold position. So this is going to be one of the few successes that we talk about here. So we hold. That guy came through. Not aggressive play to try to get up top. Obviously, we were fighting before that. So not much to talk about there besides just holding an angle. Now, I think he kind of peeked the door, but I think he was really trying to open it. So we get that done. So we get some looting on. We hear a bunch of other fighting. And I heard a bunch of guys prior to that talking and voice lining. So we end up going in. We check this finally. We check this safe. We start to take some rounds. I end up actually killing another player across. Just with some decent shots. So we run over. A little bit of play-by-play here to skip through. We run over, we do some looting. We try to get in and do some looting. And then we're holding. We're going to come up. This is actually where we're going to loot. There's still a lot of action going on here. So we get our loot on, and then we start to take some frag grenades. So I pull into this corner just to kind of assess. I want to swap out some guns. I'm running a little bit low on P90 ammo. We got a nice little M4. We do some stuff here, okay? Now, it's very clear that there are quite a few players left here. So we're swapping. We're changing out guns. We're just trying to get ourselves situated. The M4 is definitely the play to go. And now I'm just trying to listen. Just trying to assess, evaluate, really just kind of figure out where the other player... At this point, I think there are at least one... I know there's at least one, if not two players still alive. So we swing this, and we're dead.
Fuck, man. Good shot.
In the moment, when this happened, in the moment, no clue where that guy was. No clue. I thought he might have been on the steps across. I thought he might have been... I honestly don't even know. I died so quickly. I ended up dying to what eventually turned out to be a P90. And here's the interesting thing. We'll take this back in a little bit of slow-mo here. We'll move this forward. Start our swing. And I'm trying to clear, looking to see on steps, because that's where I just honestly killed that other guy. And we're dead. It happens very quickly. I will try my best to pause it here. And it honestly took me a couple of watch-throughs to even figure out where this guy was. He's right here. This is his backpack. So he is just barely peeked over. He's crouched. I honestly, to a certain extent, can't understand how he sees me crouched that low. But he's right here. This is him, 100%. So he's got an easy, clear shot on me. You can see him moving. He's got the big old backpack on. Bam, right there. Probably the best picture. He might have been angle peeking the side and absolutely tears me up. To play this back... and I had to really listen, and you might not be able to hear it. As I'm going through and packing and unpacking, just organizing this equipment, I believe it's about at here, where you can just very faintly hear some slow creeping coming down wood. Now, if I would have paid a little bit more attention to that, I would have realized that he basically slow crept into the hallway. Taking a look back, I had grenades, I had a VOG, I had a couple of F1s. I know this guy is going to try to be aggressive and push to a certain extent. I did not expect the slow kind of sneak stealth play to get in. Invariably was what was a fantastic position. Now, if I do grenade there, then I'm in a pretty good spot. But I really didn't expect him to be there. The other thing to learn is closing that door would have been a really, really key indicator That would have helped me. I would have heard that. It would have been a great sound cue. He's right there. He absolutely owns me. So listen. If I could tell you anything, listen to your sound cues and pay attention to them. If you've got that sense, if you feel like something's off, pay attention to it. Try to make smart plays off of that. The other option that I have here is I'm holding here, I'm looking here. I haven't heard any metal coming up these steps. Now, obviously, somebody could be in the long hallway in front of blue, but probably a worthwhile move. I can move down here. I've got the loot. I can make an L shape, or I've got options at this point. I can go up. I can go down. I can move through that blue hallway and try to reassess and get a different angle to engage this fight, or to peek some angles and to look. So again, this one took me a little bit. Took me a little bit to see and understand, but when you listen to all those cues and again, recording your gameplay, watching some of it back, you're going to see quite a bit that you may not see in the moment. So I thought that was really beneficial. So we'll jump into the last one. This is probably one of the few successful raids that we had this night, and we did pick up a little bit of gear, which was this one right here. We had another customs run. We basically saw some folks and heard some fighting over here by the entrance to construction. So we'll give it a one-time through. I see that guy there take a couple of shots.
In the bushes.
We get another guy over there by the bushes.
On the right, on the road.
So we're going to move forward here. I got like stuck on that. Don't mind my derpy place.
I went through a hole.
Killed one.
So we get a nice little snap play there, snap kill. One of the few,
No.
one of the few that we end up getting.
Taking that little cut.
I'm gonna take that back and play through it again and talk about why that was successful. Obviously, partly a lucky shot. I ended up headshotting that guy, which was just again a lucky snapshot to be able to get on there. But I did a couple of things right here that I thought was important, and in the moment probably didn't really recognize, but was doing pretty smart. So we obviously get, and we know the engagement is happening on the other side of this wall. You have a couple of options here. I obviously could have peeked the door. I don't like that play just because you're really, really exposed. So what do we do instead? We move up. If I can ever get over the fence line. So we move up. The other important thing to understand is that I believe these players were fighting, right? That's the engagement that we heard. They might have been killing some scabs, but I believe that these players were fighting, and it was a couple of different man teams. We also saw the two guys. The one guy was in the bush. The one guy definitely went inside this wall. So when I make this play and I push up, what I'm basically doing is trying to check and hold these two angles, this one right here and this one right here, in case they decide to come out. Now, in that moment, what I did that was actually pretty smart, and I want to highlight here, is to understand what potential angles you can also be shot from. So I really didn't have any visibility over where this hut is. Now, if you look closely and you slow it down, you can see there's a dead body right there. But I basically stayed back far enough that nobody can see me. If I would have pushed closer, this guy absolutely destroys me because he's waiting for me. He can hear me. And got very, I'm going to say lucky, but this was probably the best position play I can make in this instance. Again, I push too far up here. I go up to even right about here, probably dead, and won't even ever see the guy. So when you're trying to cover an angle and you're thinking about covering an angle and you have some area that you can't really see or haven't cleared, it's important to understand the other angles that people can come at you from. Now, that guy right there was not part of that initial engagement. He wasn't the guy in the bush. He wasn't the guy that ended up running in here. We did some clearing out. We ended up killing another player that pushed back. The guy in the bushes pushed back behind the other side of the wall. But I just think this was a good moment to highlight, and something that I think gets a lot of players killed in certain instances is just really trying to understand the angles that they're putting themselves in. And again, very lucky headshot there. We had some good armor and some good gear on, but he was totally facing us, ready to drop us in this moment. So I was pretty happy that happy we made a quick snap play. The other thing to do here is recognize that that's a threat. So scanning, see him, obviously move up to engage. I think him shooting me actually helped me in that regard. And that's kind of how we finished up. So I think that's it as far as clips here. We kind of hold.
Killed him. Killed him.
I end up killing that guy.
One more.
We end up taking some more shots here, and we end up finally for me, that was the first raid that we had survived that night. So I know I talked a lot, 25 or so odd minutes, breaking down some different plays, but I thought this would be a really interesting look again at just trying to learn from the mistakes. And I know I said it at the outset of the video, but this was one of those nights where I was very frustrated. I was very frustrated by my play. I was very frustrated that I was getting just absolutely eaten in a lot of those situations. In quite a few of those, unbeknownst to me, exactly where it was coming from. So I really strongly recommend that if you are struggling with this game, if you're struggling to learn, load up OBS. If your computer can handle it, take some recordings of just your desktop. And if you get into a really frustrating fight or you end up dying and you're really not sure, play some of that footage back. Go 30 seconds before the moment, see what you could have heard instead, play it a couple of times, play it in some slower mode, slow that video speed down a little bit. And I think what you're going to end up finding is that you end up picking up a lot of details that you may not have noticed before. Like I said, that labs raid and even that first customs raid, I didn't even see those guys in real time. Playing it back, obviously there were indicators to pick up and obviously moves to learn from. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please throw a like, throw a comment down below. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you'd like to see different. If you have any suggestions, always open to feedback. And if you guys end up enjoying this video, we will do it again, and we'll take a look at some of our, again, I like to look at the desk because I think that's the most to learn from. But if you get in a really good engagement or we get in any really good engagements, we will try to learn from those as well, where we were successful and maybe able to pick up some kills as well. So with that, again, links in the description, Twitter, Twitch, Discord. Come hang out with us sometime over on Twitch, and we can talk EFT, maybe run some raids together. And with that, we'll close this one out. I've been Doc, Average Gamer Guys. As always, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.